Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. For decades, Polish defense structures may have been penetrated by a suspected Russian asset. Polish counterintelligence has arrested a defense ministry employee, apparently with high-level clearance. At the same time, the Polish government has formed a special task force to examine links between Poland and the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking scandal in the United States. The latest tranche of the Epstein files released over the past days by the U.S. Justice Department show over 1,000 mentions of Vladimir Putin and dozens of Central and Eastern European connections. Now, to analyze and discuss the latest, we're joined by Andrzej Derlatka, former director of the Polish Foreign Intelligence Agency. Welcome to TVP World. Good to have you with us.
Welcome.
So, Mr. Derlatka, I want to start with this most recent news of this employee, or like say now former employee of the Defense Ministry. Looking at the kind of, from your expertise, 30 years, what kind of damage, what kind of access could he have had in all this? And what does it say about the vetting of this individual who apparently had high-level security check back in 2021?
Okay. It is a situation that we so far know not much about it, because as usual in such situation, communique which published counterintelligence are very, very limited in information. We know that this individual worked for 30 years in our defense ministry, but we don't know how long he worked also for Russian spy intelligence. This is so far not known. Later, we don't know much about it, how it was catched by counterintelligence. They informed that they work on this case for few months. And after hard work, they got evidences of his unloyal and criminal activity. This is so far all what we know. From other hand, from those information we got, we can assume that it was terrible collapse of our counterintelligence system. He was classified to highest level. He got access to most secret informations what our defense ministry got. This is also hit against NATO ally, because in our defense ministry are also informations about NATO activities, NATO plans, because on work in the planning department, and our military plans are coordinated with other NATO countries, with all NATO ally. It is huge catastrophe for NATO ally and for Poland.
Mm-hmm. And as you said, this is something of the information we'll be getting more of by authorities as they continue all this. Now, speaking of intelligence, there's also this tranche of the Epstein files. Now, on Tuesday, the Polish government, under Prime Minister Tusk, has said there's going to be a special task force to examine those links between Poland and Jeffrey Epstein, very much to do with the sex trafficking links, potentially. So I just want to get your sense of this on what kind of evidence do you think there is at the moment, or what could there be, and what could those links potentially then be at this point in time?
Nobody knows, because so far what we know from medias are very, very limited, and about Poles involved in those situations. Most of them are models, and those models, of course, are in troubles, but not our country is in trouble. And our surprise that it is published as our government action. Of course, it should be examined by experts, but in quiet, in silence, not so public, because it seems to me like public relation event or something like this. It is not Poles involved in those situations, Polish politicians, Polish businessmen, etc. I will be very surprised if it will be true. But it is not reason to make it on those high level. If they will do this, they should make it very quiet. What for it is done so public? It is useless.
Well, but then again, at the same time, these files in the United States have been made public. They are accessible by the public. That includes not just journalists in the United States, but also other journalists, members of the public can access this. And there will still be many questions. So I suppose in some of those mentions as well, I mean, there are millions of these documents that have been released, so still combing through all of these. But what we have is already, it seems, various mentions of Vladimir Putin in correlation with Jeffrey Epstein, just from an intelligence point of view and your experience and, let's say, your mind. How credible of a link? I mean, if that indeed is a mention, what does that say about the reach of Epstein, the possible implications of that in our region, in Poland, potentially elsewhere? How far do you think this could go?
Of course, some links shows that hands of Epstein got also Poland, especially Krakow, from other places, but it is rare. It is few such links. Gigantic problem. It is in the United States. It touched personally President Trump, of course, main political personalities, as well former politicians, businessmen like Gates, of course, but not in Poland. We got any problem with this. Only few people got problem, and not important people for our policy, for our social situation, etc. In America, in some countries in Europe, it is really huge problem. Not only in Poland.
All right. So, yeah, and this is a new announcement just on Tuesday. So the special task force, as you say, will now get going. Realistically, as you said, you've been critical saying this should not be so public, but realistically, how long do these kind of probes take? How long will we, if at all, get information that they have tangible evidence? Will this be made public? Will it not? How long are we going to be waiting for this?
I think it is a few weeks. It is not longer because, as I said, it is only few documents which touch Poland directly on Polish people. Not huge problem for experts. When they got access to these files, it will be very short time. It is simple to check it, and it could be after 1 week, 2 weeks, and if they will got access to those what Americans published. Problem is, of course, with these hidden files, secret files. They are in work by FBI, but other institutions in America. But I doubt if we got access to those because they are in process. It is not reason the American will get it. They interest mostly in American situation, and really it is huge problem for America, not for Poland particularly.
But at the same time, we have already had a resignation, for instance, in Slovakia of this very close security and diplomat to Robert Fico, who was also in these files. I mean, I'm also curious, let's say if this probe does go on, you said it might take weeks, and Polish authorities will want access to some of these sealed documents in the United States. How far do you think this probe in Poland will go in trying to get those files that are currently sealed by the United States?
Among Epstein, I see any Polish politicians, any Polish diplomats, any Polish businessmen, only few women. It is all. But that I think it is very painful for those women, but not for Poland as well. This is situation which couldn't be so carefully examined.
And just final quick point, some of the others have been mentioned as well. I mean, looking at former Prince Andrew, etc. Do you think that this extends further? Other parts of Europe, there have been high-level individuals, royalty mentioned. Where else could this go in Europe? Just briefly before I close.
Possibly, but I think what happened, it is mostly what could happen. That is a situation that after publishing those files, journalists start to examine those, and it is reason why those situations like Slovakia in Norway happened. But we should wait and see what will be further, especially in countries with, when Epstein got relations, got friends, relatives, or other people which got involved in his businesses. We'll see, we'll see. But I am quite sure that not concern Poland, that it will not concern Poland.
Okay. Well, look, thanks for all that information. Really much appreciated. Always a pleasure. Andrzej Derlatka there, the former director of the Polish Foreign Intelligence Agency. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but stay right here on TVP World for more. Goodbye.